You're listening to Weather with Enthusiasm. Monday, August 19th, 2024. Intense Arctic heat occurred August 5th through August 9th this year. Temperatures not only went into the mid-90s, which is a rarity up there in the Arctic, especially the Canadian Arctic, as opposed to, let's say, Siberia, those areas where mid-90s is more common in the summertime, but temperatures even went into the upper 90s. We had a city, it's called Little Chicago. You know, it's not, Chicago is in the United States right along Lake Michigan, but Little Chicago is north of the Arctic Circle. This city is in the Arctic. Temperature hit 97 degrees Fahrenheit. That's something which, that's the hottest temperature ever in the Canadian Arctic. We have other areas where temperatures went to 98 and 99 degrees just south of the Arctic Circle. These are temperatures which are, 36 degrees Celsius for Little Chicago. Temperatures went up to 37 degrees Celsius when you go even just a little bit south of the Arctic Circle, and even closer to 38 degrees Celsius. Temperatures came very close to 90 degrees all the way up the Arctic coast, all the way up there. Dead Horse, Alaska, 89 degrees. It's getting really close, way up there. And we're going to just speak about exactly why all this heat happened. Some record-breaking overnight lows, meaning the warmest minimal temperatures for the day in some locations, ranging from 67 degrees in Inuvik. That's the warmest overnight low ever recorded. The high temperature there hit 95 degrees, 35 degrees Celsius. 67 degrees Fahrenheit is about 19 to 20 degrees Celsius. 19 degrees Celsius. We had other locations in Alaska, the warmest overnight low ever of 71 degrees, breaking the previous overnight low of 70 degrees. We'll take a look at that city in just a moment. Here in the United States, when we talk about overnight lows, there's two reasons for warm overnight lows in the summertime. Number one is that the daytime highs are just so high that the temperatures aren't really given the opportunity to drop that much. But number two is humidity. But when we're speaking about the Arctic, it's not the humidity, it's winds. The south winds were really strong in between some of the cities in Alaska and also in Canada. And temperatures, the radiational cooling cannot really intensify at night when you have strong south winds. So the temperatures just don't drop that much. That's the first thing. But the main thing was the synoptic weather set up on August 5th. On August 5th, a large warm high pressure aloft was centered over the southern Yukon Territory, and strong low pressure anchored over the Bering Sea. Over the next several days, the high pressure aloft drifted east, while the low in the Bering Sea expanded eastward. To the west of the high center, strong south winds from the Gulf of Alaska all the way into the Beaufort Sea served to increase the temperatures of the air mass through latent heat release caused by water vapor being precipitated out on the south slopes of the coastal mountains, the Alaska Range, the Brooks Range, the Richardson Mountains, and then warming as the air descends on the north side of the mountains. That's what happened, and temperatures went into the mid and upper 90s, mid 80s at a minimal. Fairbanks, Alaska high 86 degrees. Mid 80s to upper 90s were afternoon highs in this heat wave. A lot of this information comes from, it's alaskaclimate.subtrack.com, and we're now going to read about it in more detail. Just to read you this is written by Rick Thaumann. For the second summer in a row, extreme all-time record heat has baked parts of northwest Canada and Alaska. In 2023, the July 8th through 9th heat wave was centered in the middle and upper Mackenzie River Valley in central and southern Yukon Territory. Now, he writes 2023, with the Alaska-Yukon borderlands and northern southeast Alaska on the edge. This year, August 5th through August 9th, 2024, the most extreme heat relative to the climatology occurred north of the Brooks Range and east of the Richardson Mountains. South of the Brooks Range, there were a few daily records, most notably the highest temperature, 87 degrees at Northway, southeast of Tak on August 6th. That's the highest temperature so late in the summer. Alaska North Slope, Temperatures peaked on the central and eastern Alaska Beaufort Sea coast on August 6th. Climate observations have been made in the Dead Horse Prudhoe Bay area since December 1968, and the high temperature of 89 degrees Fahrenheit, 31.7 degrees Celsius, is by far the highest temperature in that time, breaking the previous record of 85 degrees Fahrenheit, or 29.4 degrees Celsius on July 13, 2016. This is also the highest temperature on record in Alaska north of 70 degrees north latitude, and is the second August in a row with extreme heat in this area. On August 5th, 2023, Dead Horse reached 84 degrees Fahrenheit, 28.9 degrees Celsius, which was, as it turned out, a short-lived monthly record high temperature. For the lower Mackenzie River Valley, the high temperature August 7th this year, 2024, 95 degrees Fahrenheit, 34.8 degrees Celsius. That was at Inuvik. It's easily the highest temperature on record. Previous record was 33 degrees Celsius, 91 degrees Fahrenheit. It's at July 4th, last summer, 2023. At Tuktoyaktuk on the shore of the Beaufort Sea, on the shore of the Beaufort Sea, the high temperature August 7th of 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 29.9 degrees Celsius, was not an all-time record, which occurred in July 1998 at 87 degrees, but it's a new August record high. Fort McPherson has a very broken period of climate observations, but the high of 95 degrees Fahrenheit, 35.1 degrees Celsius on August 8th was higher than last July's high temperature by 3 degrees Celsius, 5.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Paludic, 250 miles northeast of Inuvik, also set an all-time record high of 88 degrees Fahrenheit on August 9th. This is nothing compared to what we're about to see, by the way. The Middle Mackenzie River Valley in the Satu region, high temperatures on August 9th at Fort Good Hope. Oh, this is unbelievable. 99 degrees Fahrenheit, 37 degrees Celsius. And Norman Wells, 98 degrees Fahrenheit, 36.7 degrees Celsius. They were both monthly record highs, but fell just short of the record set on July 8th, 2023. However, in some ways, this is at least as impressive as last summer's heat, and as much as it occurred a month later in the summer when clear sky solar heating is 66 degrees north, is already about 15% lower than it is in early July. Now, speaking of latitude, 37.3 degrees. Speaking of latitude, the 36.3 degrees Celsius, or 97 degrees Fahrenheit, at Little Chicago on August 8th and 9th is the highest temperature on record in Canada north of the Arctic Circle. If you look on this map here, it's just totally amazing what these high temperatures were the hot spot. Fairbanks was 86 degrees, but when you go over to some other areas north of Fairbanks, it actually doesn't have the name of the city. In Alaska, you'll see 89 degrees in one spot. By Tak, well, you'll see some 86. This doesn't have the names of all the cities, and I don't know why. When you go all the way up to the Arctic coast, we also see Dead Horse is way up there, 89 degrees Fahrenheit. 89 degrees Fahrenheit. But Inuvik, 95 degrees. There's an area north of there, 92 degrees. Little Chicago, 97 degrees. As we've already pointed out, Fort Good Hope, 99 degrees. Norman Wells, 98 degrees. The Arctic Circle, Fort Good Hope is just south of the Arctic Circle, but Little Chicago is north of the Arctic Circle, 97 degrees. Old Crow, 87 degrees. Little Chicago of 97 degrees. That's going to be the hot spot over here. In some areas, overnight temperatures were also exceptionally high. Hillsides around Fairbanks saw temperatures remain above 60 degrees Fahrenheit, 16 degrees Celsius, August 6th and 7th. Continuous strong south winds at Delta Junction, Fort Greely between Fairbanks and Tok from the evening of August 5th through the early morning of August 8th kept temperatures elevated day and night. The result was the low temperature. Let's say that one more time. Continuous strong south winds at Delta Junction or Fort Greely between Fairbanks and Tok from the evening of August 5th through the early morning of August 8th kept temperatures elevated day and night. The result was the low temperature on August 6th was only 71 degrees Fahrenheit, 21.7 degrees Celsius, which is not only the highest minimum daily temperature on record at Delta Junction. Fort Greely, the previous record, 70 degrees Fahrenheit in 1999, but may well be the highest daily minimum temperature anywhere in Alaska. At Inuvik, INUVIK, the low temperature August 8th was only 67 degrees Fahrenheit, which is above the average daily high temperature for early August, but was not a monthly record. Now, let's get into why it was so hot. The mid-atmosphere pattern supporting this heat wave is a classic pattern for supporting summer heat in northwest North America. On August 5th, a large warm high pressure aloft was centered over the southern Yukon Territory, and strong low pressure anchored over the Bering Sea. Over the next several days, the high pressure aloft drifted east, while the low in the Bering Sea expanded eastward. To the west of the high center, strong south winds from the Gulf of Alaska all the way into the Beaufort Sea served to increase the temperature of the air mass through latent heat release caused by water vapor being precipitated out on the south slopes of the coastal mountains, the Alaska Range, or the Brooks Range, the Richardson Mountains, and then warming as the air descends on the north side of the mountains. The immediate impact from the sustained hot and dry weather across Northwest Territories was the dramatic growth of wildfires.
You're listening to Weather with Enthusiasm.
We have a powerhouse typhoon which has developed off in the Pacific Ocean. Extreme heat continues over the desert southwest.
The big shockaroo to many of you. This is especially true in regards to what's going to be going on in Alaska. We have parts of the world that are so hot right now.
Temperatures are expected to go into the low 130s. What also makes the situation absolutely spectacular over there is the enormous differences between night and day.
We have a remarkable weather pattern change that's going to be taking place over the next few days. We're going from one extreme to the next extreme.
Small soft hails falling with the storm. There is a possibility that snow squalls may develop. 27.1 barometric pressure. Feet of snow are falling in Japan. When there's intense weather, that's a time of celebration.
Just Google Weather with Enthusiasm, and they're all going to come up.